The appearance of millionaires is a topic that comes up regularly in casual conversations, with the idea being that you can't judge a book by its cover. But with this type of thinking, there are times when they don't truly look wealthy despite their success. Instead of wearing designer suits or fancy dresses, they use everyday wear, maybe even worse, and they don't even care. If these individuals are so wealthy, how are they spending their money? It's surprising how much millionaires spend on each category of their budgets. But if you think about it, the average person would benefit greatly if they were to funnel even a small percentage of their income into similar categories. So if you want more insight into how the millionaires actually spend their money, watch until the end. Thomas Corley, author of Rich Habits, conducted a study of over 200 millionaires over a 5-year period. He was able to find out more about their career choices and personality traits by analyzing the hobbies, activities, spending habits, and even skills. They all had net liquid assets totaling at least $3.2 million. Some have investments that can be quickly converted to cash, such as shares of stock or cash deposits in the bank. They also have incomes of $160,000 or more. Corley found that there are generally 4 very different types of millionaires. The big company climber, someone who works in a large company and devotes all of their time and energy into advancing their career until they find themselves in a high-paying executive role. A virtuoso, someone who is known as the best in their field. They are paid a premium for their knowledge and expertise, formal education including advanced degrees, often in law or medicine. The dreamer entrepreneur. These individuals have a strong passion for their dream. They're often pursuing their dreams, such as starting their own businesses, becoming an actor, musician, or an author. Dreamers are passionate individuals who see their work as their life. They bring a lot of energy and good work ethics, even if it challenges them to some sort of personal limits in terms of what they're capable of. Those efforts reward them financially. Because they're entrepreneurs, they have no cap on their potential income when compared to an employee. The saver investor. Savers, as they're known, always prioritize saving and investing. It doesn't matter what their day job is, how high or low their income is, what credentials they have, or what opportunities are presented to them. These individuals prioritize saving and investing consistently, and they are always looking for smart ways to grow their wealth. This category of millionaires includes people from all occupations, which illustrates how someone can become a millionaire regardless of their career. This is encouraging to many that earlier thought that it was impossible for people from all professions to be rich. Many people tend to think of people who are millionaires as CEOs of top-tier Fortune 500 companies or individuals that have a brilliant idea and make it successful. The fact is that most millionaires were able to reach the $1 million threshold by just being an average person in the saver investor category. Being a saver investor and becoming a millionaire is one of the most achievable goals for anyone. It doesn't require massive amounts of work, extensive degrees, or be amazing to make it happen. You just need to save your money and put it in proven investments with a track record of growth. It's possible for anyone, regardless of whether they graduated from high school or came from poverty, to get on the right track to becoming wealthy. According to Corley, for a person to become financially successful by being a part of the Saver Investor Group, you should aim to keep your expenses at 80% or less of what you take home every month. He found that Saver investors were saving a lot of their income and aimed to save at least 20% or more of their income and religiously invested that money. They saved in order to be able to invest or save more later. By implementing this frugal mentality and focusing on the process of saving money first is a good place to start. With this mindset and following the sample's lead, it's quite easy to make it happen. The typical saver and investor find ways to categorize their expenses. This way, they can avoid reckless spending while remaining frugal. Housing. 25% or less of net pay. The largest portion of most people's budget is their housing expense. This could be because people often buy too much house for their income. Their rent is no longer affordable, or people don't want to live in close quarters with roommates and make other sacrifices. For a lot of people, housing can be difficult to afford without going into debt. The saver investors don't go wild when it comes to this expense because they keep their housing costs at 25 or less than their monthly take-home pay. Choosing a smaller home or apartment can lower your rent or mortgage monthly cost, utilities, and other expenses that come along with a larger space. These individuals are willing to sacrifice location for financial savings when it comes to housing. They know the importance of frugality when it comes to housing and overall don't need things like prime spots in the city. Overspending in this category makes it nearly impossible to focus on saving and investing. Food, home basics, and more. 15 or less of net pay. Essential goods include food, personal care services, and other small household essentials. These are non-negotiable for the most part. Cars, 5% or less of the net pay. This might be surprising as transportation is the second largest expense for the average family, coming in just behind housing. The saver investor millionaires spend less than 5% of their take-home pay on transportation. This includes monthly car payments, insurance, gas, tolls, registration fee, repairs, and maintenance. Even though millionaires sometimes have expensive cars, they don't spend a large portion of their income on them. Clothing, 5% or less of net pay. Millionaires don't spend wildly on designer brands and jewelry when it comes to their wardrobe. Some wealthy people have a large collection of luxury, but most millionaires wear generic clothing brands. Vacations, 5% or less of net pay. It's common, even for a middle-class family, to spend a lot on annual vacations. For many families, trips to Disney and cruises are their vacation of choice. However, these excursions typically cost more than the average household can bear. The saver investor millionaires spend less than 5% of their net pay on vacations. They don't deprive themselves of opportunities to travel and have a leisure time, but they take a modest vacation that doesn't cost them too much, so as not to run out of money during their annual budgeting. This only compares to the average or slightly above families spending $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000 on a family vacation. Entertainment, 10% or less of net pay. This includes bars, restaurants, takeout, movies, music, books, and streaming services. These are some of the ways you connect with your community and live a balanced lifestyle. However, the joy that certain people receive in this is short-lived and can quickly fade. Perhaps the most common examples of how you can save money to put towards your future is by putting away some of your income each month. Let's say you earn a modest amount of $50,000 per year. Saving 20% of your income would end up being around $750 per month. There are some ways to reduce larger expenses while steadily increasing income. It is not impossible to make this happen. These rich people make sure that they never go overboard with spending on the two largest costs in most households. They know that if you spend too much in these areas, it will be impossible to build a fund for emergencies or to save consistently. They are frugal in regards to their housing costs, meaning they don't buy or rent more space than they need, and they are willing to sacrifice when it comes to location. They are careful with how they spend when it comes to transportation and don't waste their money buying a more expensive vehicle than needed. In order to become a successful saver investor, it's important to know how much is better saved and saved efficiently. One way to get started is by avoiding spending on what are typically the largest household expenses. No matter how millionaires are categorized, they all have similar personality traits when it comes to money. They are easily aware of how they spend their money and generally don't waste it. They focus on quality, and they know that being cheap doesn't always equal saving money. The good news is, it's easy for the average person to adopt these spending habits. Consider how the saver investors are spending their money and where that money is going. This will help you make a plan to have the same amount of money coming in as well.